One thing you have to remember is that people buy with emotions and justify with logic. You might think that the cover, interior, and keywords of your low-content books are enough to make a sale, but you may be missing out on something very important. If you want more customers to add more of your books to their cart, then keep on watching. Hello and welcome to or back to Passive Income Templates. My name is Laura, and by the end of this video, you'll have 3 simple, top converting formulas for writing Amazon KDP descriptions that will help you sell more books. This is a longer, value-packed video, more of a masterclass in descriptions, buyer psychology, and the kind of copywriting that sells. So grab a drink or a snack and we'll get into it. I know that this video will not be for everybody, but low content doesn't mean low effort, and if you do want to take your listings to the next level, this is for you. So what do I mean when I say people buy with emotion and justify with logic? I'm going to give you one of my favorite anecdotes in a second. I've included plenty of timestamps below, so feel free to skip ahead or play this at 1.5 speed or 2 times speed if you just want to get to the good stuff. But this is just a little bit of information on buyer psychology. So quickly, let's talk about the brain and how it influences our buying behaviors. Now we have the left side of the brain, which is very analytical, logical, future planning. It thinks in a very linear way. And the right side is more of what we think about when it comes to design and the arts and intuition and emotions and being in the moment and abstract thinking. So interestingly enough, the primal survival part of the brain develops first. This is the right side. And then the left side, the logical processing center, develops second. Now, Daniel Kahneman is a Nobel Prize winner in economics and the author of the book Thinking Fast and Slow, and he's the one who found that people make emotional decisions and justify them with logic. And my favorite story demonstrating this is a study that was done about German beer and French wine. So there was a study done where a bottle shop played German beer hall music on Tuesdays, and then on Thursdays they played French restaurant music. So they monitored people's buying behaviors to see what was being sold on certain days, and then they were, standing outside this bottle shop and asking people why they bought the specific drink that they did. So of course, on Tuesdays, as expected, the sales of German beer absolutely spiked. And on Thursdays, French wine sales spiked. So this seems like a very emotional decision. Music was influencing their emotions. They were touched by something and they were buying based on that. But as people were leaving the bottle shop, they were only giving very logical answers. Like, this beer will go really well with what I'm making for dinner, and their answers really had nothing to do with the music at all. So how do we apply this to sales and writing dynamic product descriptions? You're probably wondering, what the heck? How is this going to help me sell a logbook? Stick with me. So we're hooked into a decision with the right side of our brain, and we justify it with facts and figures. Why is this important? Believe it or not, this actually helps you structure your descriptions. This is why it's extremely helpful to list a book's benefits before you list the features. So this is just a very random, simple example that I found on Amazon. You can see that they've started with a benefit, make your week easier, and then they go on to list the features in bullet point size, like what kind of pages you'll find inside, and so on. These are straight facts. I am a relatively new seller on KDP, but I make my full-time living as a writer, so I know the power of the written word. And I mention this because, much like this book, many of my books do not have any reviews, and even when they're freshly uploaded and don't have the look inside feature, they still sell. And that tells me that people are purchasing based on what they can see, and that's the cover and the product description. Let me state that you don't have to be a writer of any kind to apply the writing formulas that I'm sharing today, and you'll just become better and better once you become more familiar with the basic structure of the formulas that I provide. It might seem like a lot of work, but give it a try and see how it goes. I would love to know your results if you try writing your descriptions this way. Of course, people have to be able to find your products, so keywords matter, but that's a totally different video for another time. So just for the sake of it, let's say somebody has landed on your product page on Amazon. They see a great cover, their finger is hovering over the buy now button. How do you persuade them to actually press that button and buy when they're reading your description? Of course, there are tons of different ways to do this. I encourage you to find whatever way works for you. My favorite way is through the power of direct response copywriting. Now, we'll go into a short little mini lesson about what this is and where it came from. So, like I said before, feel free to skip over this section if you just want to get to the formulas. There are timestamps below. Direct response copywriting is not something that I came up with. It comes from David Ogilvy, who is known as the father of modern advertising. He coined the term and he headed up very successful campaigns for companies like American Express, Dove, Shell, Rolls-Royce, and so on. So he knew that the most effective way to reach customers, and most importantly, to get them to take action, was to speak to them on a personal level. And that's the difference between general advertising that focuses more so on awareness and direct response copywriting that gets people to purchase or do some kind of an action. The interesting thing about these formulas is that they are so incredibly versatile. They can be applied for many purposes. They can be condensed to the length of a tweet for marketing your books. The same principles could be used potentially in your ad campaigns, or could be used to sell your courses if you're building out more of a KDP publishing, self-publishing business of some kind. And if you go back to the very beginning of this video, you will find that I used one of them to capture your attention for this video. So see if you can tell which one. So these have applications in all sorts of e-commerce, well beyond KDP. And I know that it takes a little bit of effort, but this is one of the most effective ways to get your customer to buy. If you find this interesting, I've linked Ogilvy's book on advertising. It's called On Advertising below in the description so that you can dive deeper and get more insights straight from the source. Very quickly, some of the foundations of direct response copywriting. Number one, always aim for clarity over cleverness. And like I said before, you don't have to be a writer to make the most of these formulas. It may even be better if you're not. Number two, be clear on what you're offering and to who, so that you know exactly who you're speaking to and the problems that you're solving for them. So in most cases, if you're creating in a niche, you're already thinking of a very specific kind of customer and their needs. And number three, use everyday language. So just avoid big words and trying to sound smart. You want to use the words that you would naturally and candidly, and this really makes a customer say, oh my gosh, it's like you're in my head. You know just what I need, and you're already speaking my language. Now let's get into the real juicy stuff, the formulas you've been waiting for. I'm going to deconstruct each one in detail. These are 3 top converting formulas that I've used in my own descriptions to much success, but even if you don't follow them to a T, they will be very helpful providing a framework for you to work within. So like I said, take what works for you, leave the rest, and remember, these are just a piece of the puzzle when it comes to selling on Amazon. So the first formula is PADS, and that stands for problem, agitate, discredit, and solution. I'm going to break these all down in a second with examples, so hold tight. The next top converting formula is the ADA formula, which stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. And the final top converting sales formula is PPP, picture, promise, and push. Diving into PADS, let's break it down so that you know how to use this to write incredible descriptions of your own. So again, this is problem, agitate, discredit, and solution. This is the exact sequence that you want to present your content in. In the first part, problem means that you're addressing a specific problem in your customer's life, some kind of pain point, something that they're dealing with. In the case of a meal planner, they're probably really starved for time. If they have a small business and need an expense tracker, maybe they want to take the stress out of tax time. So again, this comes back to the benefits we talked about earlier and helping people feel differently. The next part is to agitate the problem by describing the pain point in detail. And this shows that you can really empathize with your customer and prove that you know exactly where they are at this point in time, what they're going through, and you get in touch with their internal dialogue. And this really gives them a sense that you know that you understand their experience. Next up is discredit, which means that you're bringing up possible solutions that your customer has already tried or considered, and you explain why they don't work or why they're an ineffective way of dealing with the problem. And what this does is it positions you as a reliable source of information and a credible authority. And finally, you deliver a solution. In action, pads might look a little bit something like this. This is just an example that I wrote up for a totally fictional fitness planner. So each one of the sentences that you can see here, or each one of the sections that I've broken up, is just totally follows the formula of PADS, pads. So this is what I said. Are you feeling overwhelmed by the idea of starting a fitness routine? Every day you promise yourself you'll start tomorrow, but then you get busy with appointments, errands, and deadlines that leave you exhausted. Most people never start working out, or they resort to fad diets to drastically drop weight. Practicing healthy habits every day is the key to a sustainable routine and a lifetime of wellness. Buy now to prioritize your physical health and become your best self. Using these formulas is a really concise way of listing the emotional benefits before the technical features, so that people are connecting with a product before you get into all of the nitty-gritty details like 120 pages, 6x9 size, soft cover, whatever other kind of practical details you want to include. After I share these formulas, I'll go into how I would format these using the submission panel in Amazon KDP, just so that it's clear and easy to read. Top converting formula number 2 is the AIDA formula. So that's attention, interest, desire, and action. With attention, you want to catch the customer's attention with a bold headline. Then you want to create interest with some kind of information that seems fresh or unusual, or maybe even polarizing. Next, you want to emphasize their core desires, and then finally conclude with a call to action. Here's how the AIDA formula might look like in action. This is another fictional example that I just made up for a coloring book. And again, I've just broken it up per section based on the formula, but you are free to format it however you like. You don't have to have it look exactly like this. But anyways, this is what I said. Reduce your stress levels simply with coloring pencils and paper. You don't need anyone to tell you that rest and relaxation are important, but have you ever given much thought to how to relax? Make your rest time feel like rest and awaken your creativity with this coloring book. Gift yourself or a friend a moment of peace in a busy world with pages and pages to create calm. Top converting formula number 3 is PPP, picture, promise, push. What you want to do first is create a vivid scene about an existing pain or a desired future outcome, and see if you can paint a picture with the senses. So involve, taste or touch, things like that, to really get people to envision themselves in a particular scene. Especially if it's a future desired outcome. This is really good in cases of, something that's aspirational. This is an example that would also really work well for something like a fitness planner, or, something where people want to work towards something inspiring or motivational, something like that. Next, you want to state how your solution will solve the pain or bring the desired outcome closer. And finally, a lot like the other formulas, this is about creating a call to action and nudging the customer to make a move. Here's an example of the PPP formula in action for a habit tracker that I just made up. So here's what I've written. You wake up early, sip and savor your oat milk latte, gratitude journal, meditate, and move your body, all before 9 a.m. Will this be you in 90 days? Fact. It takes 21 days to form a new habit. With the pages of this customizable habit tracker filled in, your life will be transformed. Stop struggling with change and start leveraging the power of repetition to effortlessly rewire your brain, no matter what new habits you want to create. On Amazon KDP, when you go to submit, they updated this within the last couple of months, I believe, so you don't have to go anywhere else to edit your description, to make it bold and whatever else you want to do to it. What I usually do is make sure that the first sentence or phrase or whatever is bolded. That's just a personal preference. And then maybe I'll do something similar to the last line or put it in italics or whatever. And then, like I said, now that we've listed all of the benefits of our book, you can go ahead and put in some features. So whatever, let's just make something up for the sake of it. This is a fictional fitness planner, so let's just put in some bullets. We'll say 8 by 10 size. When it comes to listing sizes, something you might like to do is compare it to, a backpack or a bag. So let's just actually do something like 6 by 9, travel ready, 6 by 9 size, perfect for a gym bag. And what else can we say? So let's just put in some made up stuff. So let's just say fitness planner. We've got habit tracker, pages. Let's just say we've got like nutrition, log, and whatever, something like that. This is just Grammarly that I use. I use it for work, for my copywriting in my normal day-to-day 9 to 5. It's really helpful if you want help with spelling and all that stuff. So yeah, that is a Chrome extension that you can install if that will help you out. So yeah, let's just say you've got a couple of features listed there, and yeah, this is a really nice way to structure your descriptions, just so that it looks visually appealing and easy to read. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I was a little hesitant to record and post this video. I'm not sure what kind of response it will get because I know it's not the usual kind of Amazon KDP description metadata video. Let me know if this makes it easier for you to structure your descriptions. Even if you don't follow the formulas to a T, hopefully it provides a framework that's useful for you. Of course, I will do my best to answer all of your questions below, and with that, I will see you in the next one.